Ever since I was a little girl, I wanted to be just like my mother. I was still in the phase where I thought she was the coolest person on earth. I'd dedicate the first half of my day just to watch her get ready. I'd prop myself up on the bathroom counter, flatten out my pink floral pajamas, gather all of the attention a little girl could muster, and place it right on her. I'd learn all the trade secrets, that you need to put serum before your foundation, that burgundy color eyeshadow does not go with pink lipstick, and that you need to use a different brush for every single part of your face. I wanted to be just like her. But there was this one last step that my mother never forgot, a step that she began to teach me herself. I remember the first day of summer break in 4th grade. She took out a brightly colored scarf. She put it over my head, and she told me, "Anusha, you have to tie it in the middle, put the rest over your shoulder, and adjust the neckline." When I looked up in the mirror, I realized she was teaching me how to wear the hijab. Now, I was young. I didn't really care what I had on my head. But in that moment, we stood next to each other. And I was proud to be my mother's daughter. So I decided to wear the hijab daily. I mean, I was a normal teenager, I felt like one. I went to the movies with my friends, I joined my middle school tennis team, and the hardest decision I had to make was, well, what brand of cereal I wanted for breakfast. So I'm standing in the middle of the Walmart cereal aisle, torn between Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Frosted Flakes. I'm staring intently at these brightly colored boxes until I see a woman in the corner of my eye. She's glaring at us as if my mother and I were doing something wrong, but we're just regular shoppers. She starts inching towards us with her phone, and she starts yelling, "I'll kill you all. You're all terrorists. Get out of my country." I'm only 12 years old. I'm frozen with fear. And all I can hear is my mother grab my hand, mumble a quick apology, and then before I can even process anything, we're being escorted out by Walmart security for disrupting customers nearby. My mother and I have been shopping at that Walmart for the past decade. We're normal shoppers like everyone else, but she doesn't say any of that. My mother stays silent until we leave and we get to that parking lot. And that's when she tells me, "Anusha, things like this happen. We can't upset anyone." So we left and never came back to that Walmart again. My mother truly believed that we had a price to pay for living here as immigrants, that we needed to bow our heads low, that we exchanged our dignity for an American passport. She believed that we were inherently different because of our appearance, and that was the reality she had been living for the past 30 years of her life. But I chose to wear the hijab out of love for my mother, because I was her daughter, and I always wanted to be just like her. So I continued wearing the hijab through rain, shine, and even the 120-degree Arizona weather. It's my last year of middle school. I'm standing on the field of gym class watching my friends kick around a soccer ball. The sun's beating down on my head, so I go to grab my water bottle, but before I could, I feel 2 hands dig into my back, and then suddenly I'm violently shoved to the ground. My ears are ringing and there's blood running down my head. I'm frozen again. It's that same familiar feeling. All I can hear now is, "My parents say people shouldn't wear those." I look up and it's a boy from my class. A boy that I've never spoken to, but he's standing right above me with a smile on his face like I did something wrong. When I told the teachers about this incident, they ignored it, When I told school administration, they chose to believe the other side. And when I told my parents, they didn't want to speak up for me. My mother said the same words. Anusha, things like this happen. We can't upset anyone. No one could see me as anything other than a hijabi, that I was a political issue rather than a person. Here, their own daughter was being physically assaulted, and all they could care about was whether I upset anyone. My mother didn't stand up for me. She didn't get justice for her daughter. She treated this like it was an everyday occurrence, like another statistic waiting to happen. And for the first time in my life, I didn't want to be my mother's daughter anymore. So I stopped wearing it. I remember the first time I stopped wearing this, my mother called me a disappointment in front of all her friends and family. She wouldn't speak to me for days, and when I sat down at the dinner table, she'd get up and immediately leave like I was some nuisance. She didn't show any of that anger when we were being escorted out by Walmart security, when there was blood running down my head on that gym class. She didn't care. This was all her fault, not mine. But as I looked down at the scarf that I ripped off my head, I can't help but remember that little girl. That little girl in that bathroom playing with her mother's lipsticks. That little girl had this scarf placed on her head with so much love. And in that moment, we weren't hijabis, we weren't victims of injustice, we weren't statistics. She was just a mother sharing her love for her daughter. And I realized that's exactly what my mother was doing. She was trying to protect me in the only way she thought she could. She wasn't born here. She couldn't speak English well. All she knew was to lay low and not question anything. She left her friends, her family, her career on the other side of the world so that I could have a better future. And to her, speaking out would jeopardize that future. To her, wanting justice was a privilege that came at the cost of her silence. But honestly, it hurts to see your own mother being treated like this, being constantly harassed but too terrified to say anything, watching her eyes tear up in that Walmart parking lot but hiding her face with the car door mirror so that I wouldn't see her crying. It hurts. If justice means to give each their due, is this what we deserve? Harassment, profiling, violence? Do we have to compromise who we are to receive justice? My mother's silence about those issues taught me how to speak up. I was born and raised in America. I put my hand on my chest and recited the words, "with liberty and justice for all," every morning at school. I believed that justice was a right, not a privilege. A right to me, my mother, and the 300 million other Americans that lived alongside us. But I wouldn't say that me and my mother are extremely different, that I'm better than her. Because I'm not. I am a representation of her sacrifices for a better life. She never got the chance to be vocal about her injustices. She never got the chance to speak up for herself. But I'm here in front of all of you today, speaking about those injustices because she gave me that chance. Every day, I fight for my voice to be heard. Every day, I fight for the justice that she thought we didn't deserve. Because I know she was just trying to protect me. And now it's my turn to protect her. So, no matter whether I wear this or not, I'm still proud to be my mother's daughter.